Hello, and welcome back to Leveraging Operations and Leadership, the show that bridges the gap between how you run your business and how you show up as a leader. I am your host, Tanya D. Harrison, founder of Signal Partners, and once again, we are getting ready to get practical. Today, we are talking about the 5 must-have workflows for service-based businesses and some of the mistakes that keep founders stuck without them. But before we get into the 5, I want to take just a minute to clear up something that causes a bit of confusion in the operations space. 2 words that get used interchangeably all the time, but are a little different, and that is process versus workflow. And if you've ever tried to build systems in your business and felt overwhelmed or like it did not stick, the confusion between these 2 things might be part of why. Really quickly, process. This is the what, the documented steps required to complete a task or to deliver an outcome. Workflow, this is the how and who. How those steps actually move, who does them, what tools support them, what triggers the next action. Your if-then statements or decisions are included in that. So just think of a workflow like a Visio or Lucidchart or even PowerPoint. You can do it in PowerPoint where you have the different shapes and you are connecting everything together. Workflows are extremely helpful when you are getting ready to automate. When you are going to the next level of automation in your business, workflows are extremely helpful. One of the things that I find is that when I flow out someone's process, because we're getting ready to implement some automation, they can clearly see step by step what's going to happen and how I am setting up that workflow or that automation. And you'll find that as you start to implement more automation in your business, you may start to get a little bit more workflow heavy because you want those designed out. I mean, I've even done them on my whiteboard because visually to be able to see it is so helpful. But you also want to make sure they are documented in a process as well. But today, I really want to share what the 5 workflows are that you want to absolutely make sure that you have in your service-based business. Initially, when I started talking about this, I started with 3, then I moved to 4, but it is a solid 5. After working with hundreds of micro businesses, it is a solid 5, and every single one of these are a must-have. You absolutely want to make sure you have these in your business. The first one, and I'm going to combine it a little bit. The first one is how you acquire or attract leads and how you follow up with them. And one of the things that you may have heard, the fortune is in the follow-up. And I can tell you for sure that that is true. I have converted leads to clients by simply following up. What usually happens is that we don't have a good grasp on how we acquire leads, where they're coming from, what are our most lucrative channels. And that is extremely important because when you don't know that, you end up throwing things at the wall and you're all over the place. Really sitting down and assess where your leads are coming from is the first step. And then once you're getting those leads, making sure that you have a process in place where you can follow up. So you don't want to rely on memory to determine if you follow up. Leads are going to go cold. Revenue is actually slipping through the cracks and you look inconsistent to potential clients. A simple repeatable sequence. Something as simple as inquiry comes in, they schedule a 20-minute discovery call. After the call, you were going to follow up within 1 business day or whatever the case may be. And you are going to make sure the decision is documented. If you don't get a response within that time frame, set what your follow-up sequence is going to look like and what happens to that lead after, say, 2 follow-ups, right? So they may go on your email list and they are in like general population where they're getting regular emails like everybody else. But you are going to document when you followed up, what the response was, etc. This is extremely important, okay? And the tools that you could use a CRM if you have one. You could use a project management platform to track it, or you could use a spreadsheet. Just use something to track it. That is the first workflow. The second one is client onboarding. Here, you don't want to be winging it every time a new client signs up. Again, that lends to inconsistency. Now you have an inconsistent client experience. You may be missing intake information because you don't have it documented, and you are starting every engagement from scratch. That is a lot of time and effort. A simple fix is a documented onboarding workflow that covers your welcome communication, contract payment confirmation, intake discovery, and setting the expectation right from the beginning. Every client gets the same strong first impression. This is so important because a lot of times we get the client and then we start to fall short right at this stage. And this is the worst place for anything to break down. And all of these are extremely important. But the reason why I say this is the worst place for things to break down is because it sets the tone. Think about it. Think about someone has literally said, I trust you, and they have swiped the credit card, made the payment, and nothing happens for days. Now, people are making up in their head their own story, and they're thinking about, did I make the right choice? And we don't want our clients to feel that way. I've had buyer's remorse before, and I'm sure you probably have as well. It's not a good feeling. That's not the feeling that we want our clients to experience. We really want to make sure this is tight. We really want to make sure that they are getting some type of a notification and something when they raise their hand and say, you know what, I trust you, and they take the action by paying for the service. The third one is your delivery process, the service delivery. They've purchased the service, they've been onboarded. Now, how do I deliver that? And you don't want your delivery process, again, to live entirely in your head. It makes it hard to delegate. Even if you are not able to delegate the entire thing, you may be able to delegate part of it, but it has to be written down somewhere. And you cannot be consistent at scale. If you get sick, take a day off, things fall apart, no one can step in. Sometimes you can't even step in because you don't remember how you're doing it. Your service delivery, you want to make sure that you have the documented steps of how you actually deliver your service from the kickoff call to the completion when you hand over whatever your final deliverables are. Even something as a simple checklist changes everything. It goes a long way. This is the foundation of being ready to hire. And also with your service delivery, you want to make sure that you are delivering the services on time, on schedule. That is important. People remember that. And if you are not able to meet a deadline for a specific reason, make sure that you are communicating that ahead of time. That is extremely important. One of the processes that I have is to make sure that I have 98% or above on-time delivery. I try for 100%. Right? The goal is 100%. But you need to make sure that you have some type of service level agreements where you are shooting for the very best that you can. That's the third one, service delivery. The fourth workflow you want to make sure you have is offboarding and project closeout. Don't just ghost people. There needs to be a closeout. It needs to end. It needs to come to an end. And your closeout may be a good opportunity to onboard somebody into another service that you have. But ending engagements without a final delivery or just going quiet or ghost, that sets a bad tone as well. And what happens is you may end up missing referrals where people don't refer you or they don't give you a testimonial. And again, like I said, there's no door left open for future work. So even if there was an opportunity to work with you again, they may decide not to because of the way you ended it. Make sure you have a closeout workflow that includes the final delivery, a touch point, a request for feedback or a testimonial, and a clear next step for the relationship. Your offboarding is your marketing. All of these steps are an opportunity for you to turn a client into somebody that is a loyal fan, that supports your brand, that supports your work, that is out there referring people. So you want to make sure that that is in place as well. And the last one I want to talk about, and this is one that I added probably about 2 years ago, is the weekly CEO review. Because I understand that as a micro business owner, and even before I ever had anybody working with me, that people tell you need to be working on your business instead of in your business. And as a micro business owner, we understand that we have to do both. And the working in your business can take over. So what we need to do is make sure that we are carving out time. We are blocking out time where we are sitting in the CEO seat. Running your business entirely in reactive mode with no time blocks to look at the big picture is going to cost you. And what ends up happening is you stay stuck in execution and you never step into the leader role your business actually needs. Your business needs direction. Your business needs somebody that's looking out the next quarter, the next year to see where you are going. A weekly rhythm where you review what happened, what is coming, where the gaps are, and what decisions need to be made is going to change the game. Even 30 minutes changes how you show up. I recommend in the beginning that you set aside a minimum of 90 minutes a week to do this. I have 2 sessions that I do. I have one Monday morning, and then I have another one Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what I have going on. But the one that happens on Monday happens every single Monday. That's when I'm looking back at last week. I'm looking at my analytics. I'm looking at my numbers, and I'm seeing where I am, what I did, assessing the week, and then I'm deciding what I'm going to do for the coming week. And if I have priorities that need to change, that's an opportunity for me to let my virtual assistant know that maybe there's something else that's a higher priority than what I had originally decided, whatever the case may be. But even if it's just you want to do that so you set the tone for the week. If any of those 5 felt unfamiliar, that is not a failure. It's information. It means that there is foundation that is left to build. And the good news is that foundation is absolutely buildable. And there is an opportunity for us to build it together. So you don't have to do this alone. I have a program and the waitlist is open. It's called the Leadership Shift. It is a 3-month program where we build specifically for service-based micro businesses and solopreneurs who are ready to stop running their business from memory. Inside the program, you are going to document your processes, build delivery systems, come out of it with at least one automation and a couple of other things that we're going to do together. And you get genuinely ready to grow without burning out. And that is huge. If that is where you are, I want you on the wait list. I am going to drop the link and you can sign up for the wait list. Enrollment opens June 17th. And it's going to be a small group because what I did was this used to be a one-on-one service that I provided, but I felt like I could touch more people and help more people if I put it in a group format. So that is exactly what I'm doing. And it is, like I said, enrollment is open June 17th. I'm going to start with a small group of people. We're going to walk through and then we'll start opening up the enrollment to everybody. So what you want to do is get on the wait list because the people that are on the wait list, they get notified first. The first group of people that actually sign up are going to get this at the lowest price it will ever be, period. So like I said, if you are ready to build and you do not want to do it alone and you wanted a guided implementation and you want to do it with me and a couple of other folks, be sure to join the waitlist. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for spending time with me today. If this episode was helpful, share it with a founder who needs it or leave a review so more leaders can find these conversations. I'll talk to you next week.